All right, well, welcome in, Coach. Scotty, get us started, please.
Hey, Eric, I went back earlier today and watched your post-game Zoom from the last time you guys played Alabama at home in 2021. I think your hair was wet from the locker room celebration. I'm just wondering what you remember about that night, that win, and at the time, kind of how big it was in terms of kind of growing the program the way you wanted.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing. I mean, I couldn't tell you the score or anything, to be honest with you, Scotty.
All right.
I wish I had more.
Yeah, I think it was February 2021. Y'all won, I think, by 15. They were sixth in the country. Just thought it was kind of like maybe a win that kind of maybe pushed you guys into the national spotlight a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this league, anytime you play another ranked team, certainly walking out of Auburn's arena the other night, I felt like, from their perspective, that was a really big game for them and a really big win for them. And one of the guys on staff had mentioned that their staff had said it was one of the top 4 wins they had in that building. So yeah, I think that, our win last year against Auburn, our win against Alabama, the game that you're referencing, Scotty, I think any time that, our win against Missouri this year, because they were ranked, I think any time that somebody's playing really good basketball and you get a win, and then there's probably an extra, excitement level for the fan base when the opposition is ranked.
The last thing from me, I guess if not for some foul trouble Saturday, AB may have played all 40 minutes in all 3 of your conference games to this point. Just how have you seen him approach league play and just handled the step up in competition?
Well, if he wasn't in foul trouble, I guarantee he would have played 40 minutes. That's a good observation and a true one. He's just played really good basketball. He's in great shape, and is able to do that. And I thought he was phenomenal. Offensively, much like he was, for us in Maui, where we needed some points, and he was extremely aggressive, both in the half court and in transition.
Bob?
Hey, Eric, I think that game was 81-66 over Alabama, if I recall. But anyway, you were pretty happy afterwards, I think. Hey, rebounding.
I'm happy after every win, though, Bob.
Yeah,
I'm Mr. Grouch after every loss. That's just kind of how it is.
We had to dig that T-shirt out of your closet that Danielle gave you, the Cookie Monster, whoever that was. Hey, rebounding. I know you've had offensive struggles in the play, obviously, but the rebounding's been there. What do you think about the offensive rebound in particular of the guys like Kamani and Jordan and Makai, and just how that's an aspect of the game you guys are doing pretty well right now?
Yeah, I think we've been rebounding the ball good, both ends of the floor. Auburn's a really good rebounding team. Obviously, Alabama's a really good rebounding team. When you think about Clowney 15 and 14 and 23 Pringle and Gurley, all those guys get off the ground. Miller does a phenomenal job of getting his own rebound, old school, follow your shot. He does a great job of that. And, so we're going to have to rebound certainly on Wednesday at 6:00 against a really, really good, aggressive rebounding team in Alabama.
And I know you talked a lot about Kamani's offensive rebounding strengths, but he's got 24 offensive boards and 23 defensive on the season. How unique is that, you think? And just what is that, just Kamani's personality, or what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, Kamani just has a great knack to offensive rebound. He follows the trajectory of the ball on shots, and some guys, I mean, really good players just have a certain gift that kind of separates them, and certainly with Kamani, offensive rebounding is an area that he really, really excels at, and he takes great pride in it as well.
Alabama, they won at Houston. They beat UNC and Michigan State out in Portland. one of Mississippi State. So they're obviously playing real well away from home. But based on what you've seen from what makes them such a good team away from home?
Well, it starts with having a lottery pick in Miller. At his size, he's playing the 3 spot at 6'9". He can shoot over people. He'll handle the ball in pick and roll. He'll be a screen setter in pick and roll. He'll be a ghost screener in pick and roll. I mentioned his ability to follow his own misses, which is a unique characteristic. You've got to locate him early because he's got deep range. And then, Clowney's a really good player too, as a young player that's playing really well. And then you add in, Sears is a player that's got experience and plays really well as a scorer because he can make threes. And, you look at a guy like Quinterly who's now coming off the bench for him, and, he's been a starter, for a lot of his career. And now he's coming off the bench and providing a spark for him off the bench, and they'll shoot a lot of threes, but they also are really good at getting to the basket, really good dribble drive team. And there's a reason they're ranked 4th in the country, because they're really, really good. And they had a really difficult non-conference schedule. They did an awesome job of winning those games that they scheduled. And they're a really confident team.
Okay, I got a couple more maybe, but I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks.
Curtis.
Coach, it seems like the most successful half you've had offensively in SEC play was that second half against Missouri, where you're able to speed things up. Do you feel like this group needs to maybe find ways to push the pace right now as you're sorting through things in the half court? And then how does that play against an Alabama team that likes to play so fast themselves?
Yeah, I think you've got to have, certainly we like to get out and transition. The Auburn game, when you have both Devo and Anthony Black in foul trouble in the first half. We played Ricky Council at the 1 and Joseph Pinion at the 2 during that stretch. That's a little bit unique for us. That lineup has never even really happened in practice. So, 2 point guards that got in foul trouble, and one of them in Devo got in foul trouble in the first minute and a half of the game or whatever it was. So that's going to affect your transition, because we have a 3rd point guard that's not playing right now. There's not a lot of teams that have 4 point guards on a 13-man roster. So you get the results of not scoring in transition last game, especially in the first half. So, but we played against good defenses. Missouri's unique defensively and trying to create steals, and LSU's a little bit more kind of in between. And then obviously, if you look at the Auburn numbers, not just against University of Arkansas, but you look at Auburn's defensive numbers across the board and where they rank nationally. But that's our league. A lot of really good defense, because now we got probably the best defensive team coming in here on Wednesday. So we're not the only team that has struggled to score in SEC play. Other teams that are good teams have struggled scoring the ball as well, because there's certain programs, Tennessee, who we have not played yet, obviously. A lot of really good defensive coaches in this league.
You kind of touched on it there with Alabama's defense. Looks like they've made some pretty significant strides from where they were last year to now. What have you seen that's kind of led to the success there for them?
Well, I think like with all of us, it's, personnel driven always. Their personnel, I mentioned Clowney, who I think is a really, phenomenal prospect, who's got a really bright future. Both centers block shots, so they have rim protection. and Miller at the 3 spot at his size at 6'9", it's unique. And Bradley's got really good size at the point guard spot. And then, obviously a guy like Sears played probably his best defensive game against Kentucky the other night when he had 6 steals. Quinterly can create steals. Gurley's I think a 5th-year guy, maybe more, but he's been, he's an experienced player who's got experience in this league. And so I think you add in all those factors, and you add in the fact that they're very well coached on both sides of the basketball, and hence you have a really good team. You got good personnel and you're well coached, then you're gonna be pretty good on both sides of the ball. And they got really good talent and they're really well coached.
Hutch?
Yeah, Coach, I just got one for you. Y'all gotten off to slow starts in SEC play last year and the year before, and it turned out okay. I'm curious how big important it is to have guys like Devo and Kamani as leaders to kind of help this younger team to get through this time.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just because it's happened that way the last 2 years doesn't mean that that's a that's going to happen this year. You look at our road games towards the end of the year, and you got to go at Tennessee, you got to go at Alabama. So, but I will say this, and I learned it a long time ago from my father. Your schedule often dictates, wins and losses at times as well. And look, we have I don't know what game we've played that thus far in conference play that you wouldn't. Auburn's won 26 straight at home. So it's not just Arkansas going in there and feeling that that's a difficult place to play. There's 26 opponents before us in a row that didn't win there. LSU's playing good basketball. I mean, they lost to Kentucky by 1 on the road, and Missouri's obviously played great basketball. And if the commissioner said we were only playing through 4 games and that was the SEC schedule, then it wouldn't be very good for us the last couple of years or this year. But luckily we have a full schedule, and so you got to see how it all plays out. But it's the same. You look at an NBA team, and an NBA team, if they're a West Coast team and they go on an East Coast swing, sometimes, your record is what it is. You look at Golden State's home record this year as opposed to the road record. There's just stuff that, you got to, the biggest key is, are you still trying to figure out ways to improve your team? So that's where we are really, Hutch, is how do we keep getting better? How do we keep tinkering? If we don't continue to search and get better, and it was around this time last year where we put Trey Wade in the starting lineup. Not an easy decision maybe to pull out an offensive player like we did last year and put Trey Wade in, who we thought would give us some defense and toughness. And, so we're going to keep trying to figure it out as best we can.
Follow. I'm sorry, Mason.
Yeah, Coach, Kamani named off some guys that he thought would be good cutters for you guys moving forward. I'm curious if there's anybody that you've challenged specifically, in that cutter role moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you want guys that excel and want to be dynamic cutters. I mean, we've had drills in, the time that I've been in college to move without the ball. Probably, an area that we have not fully grasped is cutting without the ball. Last year, I thought Adesi Toney was incredible as a basket cutter. I talked to the team the other day about Moses Moody. I think 4 or 5 days ago, even, we talked about Moses opening up the floor with basket cuts. Justin Smith was a phenomenal basket cutter. When we were at Nevada, both Martins were incredible basket cutters. So, yeah, we don't want to stand. Anthony Black, we talked about it before the Auburn game, and Anthony Black went out and became a super cutter. And I thought he did a great job. That's where he drew many of his FTAs. Because we just, you don't want to stand out there and just dribble the ball into your shot. You got to try to score as well without a lot of dribbles at times, especially against really good defensive teams.
And
Bob,
then
final question?
He's got another.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Mason.
I was just going to ask real quick. Jordan had 10 shots against Auburn. Jordan Walsh, I was just curious what you're seeing from him offensively.
Yeah, I think he's a young player who continues to develop, needs more consistency as a shooter for sure. But he's working on his game. He's getting better. He's getting opportunity. He's gotten a lot of minutes. And our hope and thought is that with each of these experiences, all of our young guys keep getting better. Anthony took a huge step in the right direction from where we were at our LSU game to where he is after the Auburn road game. So that's what you want. You want guys to continue to get better, and Jordan's the guy that we need to continue to grow his game.
Bob, final question?
Yeah, Eric, kind of on that theme, Jordan had 10 boards the other night. He's averaging 8-7 in league play. Makai's averaging 8-7. You got pretty good rebounding guards in AB and Devo and Ricky. Just what do you think about, Jordan as a rebounder, and then just, you've got other guys that can do it too, just team rebounding, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a really good, rebounding team. Offensively, we've improved. We didn't think we were offensive rebounding nearly enough until maybe the last couple of weeks, and I think we've increased, the pressure that we put on the rim from an offensive rebounding standpoint. But yeah, we do have Jordan was a really good rebounder before he got to Arkansas, and he'll be a good rebounder when he's not at Arkansas. He's got a good nose for the ball. He's got good toughness. He's got really, really good reaction to the ball. Kamani's got great reaction. Makai's got really good reaction to the ball. And then there's some other guys that in limited minutes, like Mikkel's a good rebounder, and he rebounds his area really well. So, we want to continue. You can't win in the SEC if you don't defensive rebounding, have a good defensive rebounding team. And certainly, against the team that we have coming in here Wednesday, we've got to not just defend individually, but also defend the 3-point line. And then the only way to end a defensive possession is with the defensive rebound.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.